Hello, everybody. Welcome to not Drama Free Friday, but Chance is still here. I know it's Drama Free Saturday. Yeah, it is. Hi, Nettie. Hi, Noe. Hi, Melody. It's so good to see you. Yeah, it's Drama Free Saturday. It should be drama free every day. Unfortunately, that's not exactly reality now, is it? Although we'd like it to be. We just have to deal. Hi, Connie. I hope you're enjoying your days off this summer. I hope you get to have days off this summer. Chance is here. He's got to get his camera time, He's got to get camera time, people. He's got to get camera time because if he doesn't get camera time, it's a problem. My mat on my table that I use all the time, I'm going to have to turn it around. Crazy mat has a lump in it. I think probably, I know it's hard to imagine this, but it's probably because I used a heat gun on it or some other heat source. So pardon me while I do a switch. We'll see if this works. If not, I'm going to have to go invest in a new mat because, nope, that's not going to, I don't know. We'll just see. We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, I think that's probably why I turned it around the last time, because the bubble was in front of me. Yeah, it's got a warp in it. Totally my fault. I'm certain these are not meant to be ironed on, this kind that I have. Anyway, enough of that. Anyway, hello, Linda. Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you. Yeah, so anyway, first world problems. Personal problems. Anyway, happy Saturday instead of Friday. Good to see you guys. You're loving your summertime? Good. Do you get to stay off, Connie, or do you have to do summer school? And I don't even know what you teach. Do you teach grade school, or what do you teach? You don't have to answer that question, by the way. Totally don't have to answer. Yeah, yesterday was a great day. I'll tell you about it later. Hello, Peggy. And Chance says, hello. He's here, as usual. Yes, as usual. Sorry I didn't give you any notice about yesterday, not streaming yesterday. However, it just the opportunity came up, and I thought, I'm taking it. I'm going to go do it. And I did. So anyway, come on in. Anybody that's here. I know the crowd today may be a bit shy. I think there are quite a few streamers on Saturday. And so the crowd may be a bit shy. Plus, this is not a day I stream. You're a para-educator for third. Got ya. Hey, Ruth. How's Ruth today? Are you watching grandkids today? If you are, I hope you have a wonderful day with them. And if not, I'm glad you're here. So, yeah. I wish one of you guys lived close enough to me to come over here and chat with me while I clean up this mess in this room. Yes, we wish that, don't we? Because this thing does not help. All he does is follow me around and talk to me. And he finally wears me out, so I leave. Zandra, hello. Good to see you in the chat. Zandra, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing okay. Think about you frequently. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, it is Saturday, folks. It is Drama Free Saturday, and I have not cleaned up the studio from the last time I streamed over a week ago. And so we're going to use the same stuff we did before and do something with it. Hey, Kathy. Because why not, right? Why not? I don't know if this cat's going to leave me alone. I was gone most of yesterday, and so he is trying to make up for being ignored. You don't do that. Yeah, he He doesn't like to be ignored. He doesn't like to be left alone. And he and the dog are better companions than they used to be, although there's still that antagonistic thing that Muppet feels like it is her job, her personal job, to wrangle the cat back up to the studio space. She's not very fond of him having free run in the house, but the cat has discovered that the dog doesn't hear anymore, so he's very quiet. Although, so he goes into stealth mode when he goes around the house, and as long as he doesn't trigger her vision, he's usually pretty safe. But if he starts running, that will trigger her every time, and so then she's up and chasing him back upstairs, and it's like, go home. But if I'm gone and the door to the studio is open, the dog will come in here and lay down in the same area with the cat. Not to chase him away, but just so that there's, warm bodies in the same geographic location. Hi, Jan. When I finish cleaning my mess, I can come over to your train wreck. I'll tell you. I got a lot of my house, the rest of my house outside the studio. I got most of it pretty well. I got a lot of that cleaned up, organized, stuff put away. I am the world's worst at setting things down. Klausman used to say I had pilot's disease, and that's not P-I-L-O-T, it's P-I-L-E-I-T. Because I was pretty good about piling things, and the problem with that, well, most of the time I knew where the things were, but occasionally I would lose something, and it was always in a pile that I didn't know where it was. Anyway, I got most of the piles in the rest of the house dealt with, so that's good. And since there's no one else helping me make piles, I don't have anybody else to blame. I can't blame anybody. So there's that. Anyway, so we'll talk as I get started. I wanted to show you a book that I had. I wanted to show you another book, but I didn't pick it up. I'm not exactly sure where it is, so I'll just put that on my list for another stream. Let me make a note. I can't write and talk at the same time. Okay, that way I will remember, maybe. Speaking of next stream, I will not be streaming on Monday because it is Memorial Day, so I won't be here on Memorial Day. But I will be here, as far as I know, on the Friday. The reason I say as far as I know is because I'm not entirely sure yet. I told you things in June are going to be a little hit and miss. I should be back on schedule in July, but I'm not sure. And I probably will be here the latter part of June to stream. It's just, June's a little bit of a sketchy month for me. So, hi, Shu. Hi, Purple Nana Linda. You're late to the party? Oh, no, you're not late. We're just chatting. Ruth doesn't usually have grandkids. Oh, you finished planting your garden yesterday. Cool. Ooh, hot sun. That's not good. I love beets. I think beets are one of those things you either love or you don't love. I love them, especially fresh. I love beets. And I love snap peas and sugar snap peas, and I love regular peas. We used to grow this giant garden. I don't know who we thought we were feeding. Oh, we had this giant garden when we lived out in the country. Man, that was a big garden. Way, way, way too big for a family of 3 or 4, depending on when my stepdaughter was around. Yeah, well, I mean, we would plant like rows, and these were long rows. We had a planter. It was big enough that we used a planter, not plant by hand, right? Like bend over and sprinkle the seeds. Oh no, we had a planter. We planted. And we planted all kinds of things, all kinds of things. And, we had the early spring things, and then the midsummer, early summer, midsummer, all that stuff. Oh, and I canned and I froze, and I was the regular sauerkraut. We made gallons and gallons of sauerkraut in a big crock. That's a whole other story. That's a story for a different day. But we had an 11-gallon crock and a 13-gallon crock that I made sauerkraut in. Don't do that, okay? By the way, don't do that. If you're going to make sauerkraut, find a way to do it in the jar. Make individual jars. Or make it a different way. Don't do it in a crock. I do not recommend that. Although it was really good, but don't do that. What else? I don't know. We did all of it. And we had a permanent garden. I'll tell you about that too. And once I get going doing something, maybe I can tell you some stories about that. Hi, Shu. Anyway, I love fresh garden produce. Hey, Tracy. Happy Memorial Day weekend to you too. Hey, Brenda. Happy Saturday afternoon. It is. It's a beautiful day. Oh, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Who do I sound like? Yeah. Okay. All right, Kat, can you like go in the other room? He's like, no, when he gets up here on my lap like this, he drools. And then he touches me with his drooly face. So I'm constantly have to wipe the cat drool off my hand. And you're welcome for that sight picture. I knew each and every one of you wanted to know that. So, where are we? I want to show you this book, and then we'll go from there. I bought this book because of the podcast that I've told you guys about called Away with Words. And it has nothing to do with art. And I don't even know why this book was mentioned on that podcast. But I love that podcast. It's really interesting to listen to. I highly recommend it. If you like words, if you like language and words and the meaning of words and funny idioms and rhymes and just random information about words, which I love, absolutely love. When I went to a school called the Lab School. We were lab rats. That's what we were referred to as. And we were experimented on, quite literally, by many university students who had to run various experiments. They would, if there was a new class, a new way to teach English, a new way to teach math, a new anything. If somebody was doing a research paper, that like a doctoral student, and they got okayed to do it through our school, then we became the experiments. I took so many tests during those years, and I was there from 5th grade through graduated from high school. It was a good school. It's not that. It's just you finally get so tired of being. We were on closed circuit television before that was a thing. That was brand new, So you'd go into the classroom and the cameras would be set up, and you're like, oh no. So I'm sure I'm on closed circuit TV footage from the time I was a kid on. I hope not, but probably is. Anyway, one of the things that they did when I was in 7th and 8th grade is they decided to teach us college vocabulary. And so it was all independent study. They were very big on independent study. I don't know if that's because the teachers didn't want to have to be bothered with teaching us, or if the grand experiment was, let's see if these kids can learn how to teach themselves. And in a way, it was very good because I learned about how to learn. And as a result of that, I used that with my son too. But when you're learning, when you're being taught that way as a kid, you're not very excited about that because I certainly would rather have had a teacher teach me. Anyway, one of the things we did was college vocabulary. And college vocabulary It was a workbook kind of thing, and it just was dismal. But there was always a test at the end of the chapter. And I was very test, very grade, very score oriented. And I wanted good scores and I wanted high grades. And that was a big, big goal for me. Anyway, so that was what made me work. I just could not imagine that these stupid words were ever going to be anything that I liked. And I have used that information over and over and over in my lifetime. So just because you think something's stupid, or because your kids or your grandkids think something is stupid, you may just have to find a way to explain it to them so that you can keep them doing it, because it generally does serve them in the future. So anyway, that is a long explanation to explain to you why A Way with Words, when somebody told me about that podcast, really intrigued me, and I love listening to it. Hey, Barbara, and everybody that's here that I missed. There's Cheshire Cat Dar. Anybody else I missed? I don't see anybody. If I missed you, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And don't hesitate, if you're in the background, to pop in and say hello if you want to. That'd be fine. So anyway, somehow this book got mentioned on that podcast. I often have, when I'm writing, I leave home to go write, to work on my journal. And I do that on purpose so that there are people around me. And I don't generally talk to them because I'm journaling. I'm working in my journal. And so I almost always have earbuds in, and I'm listening to something, although most of the time it's just sort of background noise to kind of block out the conversations that are around me. I know it's a whole thing. You guys can think I'm crazy and all that, and that's fine. I can live with that. I'm sure I'll be affirmed with that information. Anyway, on one of the podcasts, they talked about this book, and I'm like, so immediately I wrote it down, and my ears perked up. I found it on Amazon. I ordered it, and so I'm going to show it to you. I have not started. I have only leafed through it. I have not read it yet. Okay, are you getting down? All right, good deal, Chance. I'm so proud of you. He got down. Doesn't mean he won't come back, but he got down. Anyway, so those of you who are interested in books like this, you might want to check it out. I'm not recommending it one way or the other. I'm just telling you that I got it and I really have enjoyed it. So here's the book. It's called The Secret Lives of Color. The name was intriguing to me. It's Penguin Books, right? Because it's got the penguin on the cover. Let's see. Yes. It's published by Penguin Books. Kasia St. Clair is the person who wrote it. And she does have a website, KasiaSt.Clair.com, which I have not been to, so I don't know if it's current. And it was published, the copyright is 2016. So, basically kind of current-ish. The purest and most thoughtful minds are those which love color the most. Well, if that is true, I must have a pure and thoughtful mind. Anyway, this is the book. It's a very interesting cover. All the dots on the cover are metallic, are shimmery. So if that's not enough to intrigue you, I don't know what is. But it's a nice size book. And the edges of the pages are kind of like when we edge pages of a journal with washi tape or something. It's kind of like that. They're all edged with color. I know, right? So, I just thought I would show this to you. Anyway, there's a lot of writing, but there's a lot of information about color, which is very cool. She tells about how I fell in love with colors in the way most people fall in love. I thought that was interesting in the preface. And lots of quotes throughout. And, it's a lot of kind of technical information, which may or may not float your boat. There's the information about light and about pigment, the mixing of colors together. And that I think is really interesting. I just like the way that it's put together. Anyway, then you get over to the section on where it starts into a section on color. So for example, let's go to see if I can find one here. Okay, so like there is the page. I don't know if you can tell it, but this is a gradation of color from one side across the page. So it's just, I mean, it's all I can do not to draw on these pages, but I'm going to try very hard to leave them alone because I think they're so cool the way they are, but they just would be such great backgrounds, you know? So like there's the orange, red, the yellow. I know, so cool. Anyway, so the next thing it does is it goes through the different colors of red or pink or whatever, and interesting text about color. And then it goes through all the names of the colors. So it's specific information. And I like how the edges of the pages have those colors on them. So there is that. So that was the pink section. This is the red section. But isn't this cool? Even the edge of the page is has that ombre effect. So you have scarlet, you have cochineal, vermilion, rosso corsa, I'm guessing, hematite, and madder. And dragon's blood. There you go. And there's the purple. Anyway, it's just, I think for me, it's just fascinating. If I don't ever read all the words, I am inspired by the colors, you know, just by looking at the colors. Except this one. This section doesn't inspire me a whole lot. Khaki, buff, and fallow. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Get into russet and sepia and umber. Those are kind of intriguing to me. But when you get into, like, even this color of taupe, it's not too bad. But those other ones, yeah, not so much. Anyway, but look at the black. Look at the section on black. I thought this was interesting. Now you look at that and you go, "Oh, that's just black." But no, it's not. It is it is different colors of black. And they are coal, Payne's gray, obsidian, ink, charcoal, jet, melanin, and pitch black. Now, when you're looking through the pages here, you'd have to kind of fan them out to compare them so that you could actually see the different colors of black. But I thought that was really fascinating too, you know? So anyway, then there's other things back here in the back, other information. It's a lot of words, like I said, but for me, who knew that a podcast about words would inspire me to order a book on color? Hey, Dorothy. Hey, Becky. It's a way with words. I believe. Let me look, because I was just listening to it. Yes, it's
conversation about this word will help it stick in.
Okay. Let's see if I can show this to you. It's this right here.
My brain for the next time those letters
Sorry.
are up.
Just a moment. Let me go back. Here we go. Okay, that's it right there. Away with words. Okay. So there you go. That's that one. Yep. Okay, so I thought I would share that with you because it's a hardback book. I kind of prefer soft cover books, but it's nice every once in a while to have a hardback book, you know? Anyway, Secret Lives of Color. All right. So there's that. So just to kind of warm up a little bit, I thought I might do a little bit more of the journaling here, because I haven't finished the Lilies of the Valley in the Bible journaling section I was doing, and I thought, well, maybe we'd do that a little bit, warm up a little bit with that. So Chance is kind of being quiet, so hopefully we're gonna, maybe he'll leave me alone, you think? Maybe he will leave me alone. So, yeah, and I think it was Ruth asked me if I drew these myself. Well, I drew them, but I'm only with inspiration from online. And so, because I didn't want to have to think about it, you know? I didn't want to have to think about it. And so I just did Google images for these flowers that I wanted. So this is crocus. These are lilies of the valley. I didn't want to have to make it up myself, and so I Googled through Google Images and found several different ones, and then I just kind of, did a wrong controller. Then I just kind of did a combination of the various ones and came up with this. So, all right, I'm just trying to get this where you can see most of it. There we go. Okay, so these are lilies of the valley, and so I thought I would just kind of play with those a little bit while those are both plastic. Nib, let me get a different pen here. If you have any questions, put them in all caps, if you would. You have your heat back on, Becky? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It was cool here last night, which was great sleeping weather. I really enjoyed that. Okay, so what I've done is I've traced these on with pencil, and then I went over them with one of the micron pens, and now I have an 01 micron pen in black, and I'm just going to put in some ink lines. And then I'll decide later if I want to do something along the line of adding some color with some colored pencil or watercolor or what have you. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. Anyway, so we're just going to sketch in some sketchy lines here, just to create some shading. So what have you guys been up to? I hope you had a good day yesterday. So we're going to probably won't do all these blossoms, we'll see. And then we'll go on and do something else, huh? I hope you've had a good day. This is a holiday weekend here in the United States of America. It's Memorial Day weekend, and I will not be streaming on Monday because it is Memorial Day, and I have plans. It's like the official beginning of summer here. So I hope you guys all have some. In the United States, I hope you have some plans for something. Last year, Race was here, and he's not this year, he is a busy boy. He's not a boy anymore. He is a man, and he's married, and he's got responsibilities, and planning to get to see him. I thought I was going to get to see him in June, but probably not now until July, the end of July or August. But planning to see him then. And so that'll be nice. That'll be really nice. But last year when he was here, it was nice to have him here. It's always nice to have him here, you know? And then let's see, last week, earlier this week. One day runs into the next sometimes. My granddaughter was here, and her husband, and their little baby, Emily, who has been such a highlight. They are such highlights in my life, and they were here for several days. And little Emily is 19 months now, and although she has seen me in person and I've been around her a couple of times, it took her from the time they arrived until they left for her to decide that I was okay again, which is kind of par for the course at this age. But, you know, it's hard to wait for them to decide that you're okay and not the enemy. She'd been so overstimulated with cousins, and they'd been to a cousin's birthday party that I think the little girl had turned 1, and then there was another cousin that was about 3, and so there was a lot for little Miss Emily to deal with. And so then she comes to my house. Of course, I want to get my hands on her right away. And she's like, mommy, mommy, mommy. She's talking now. So it was a lot of mama, mama. And one of my favorite things she says, hang on just a minute, I can't do this and talk. She goes around in the sweetest little tiny voice, and she'll, you know how little kids that age hold their hands out like this. They don't point so much as they hold it. And she'd hold her hand out, and she'd look at something, and she'd say, "What is that?" Just was such a sweet little curious way. Cutest kid on the planet. I know a lot of you think you have the cutest little kids on the planet, but I'm sorry. No, you don't. No, you don't. I do. I win. Do I ever teach brush or hand lettering? Nope. No, Andrea, it is Saturday, but you know, you can pretend it's Friday. It's okay. I'm going to tell you the truth. I thought it was Friday. I thought it was Saturday all day yesterday because I took the day and went and played all day. Yeah, I thought it was Saturday all day yesterday. I surely did. And so by last night, I'm going, Barb, tomorrow is Saturday. It's not Saturday today. Tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday. Having to remind myself so that I would indeed not forget to do what I needed to do today. He doesn't, Tracy. He's busy. He is busy. He is really busy right now. He is really busy right now. Let's see. Thank you, Tracy. She said she likes the drawings. Thanks. It's a bank holiday in the UK. Oh, okay. Cool. I don't teach brush or hand lettering because I'm not good at it. I learned a long time ago that with brush and hand lettering, you had to spend the time. I did take a calligraphy course one time, long time ago. Did a little bit of it, but I'm not very patient with it. Calligraphy and brush lettering and all that stuff, you need to practice a lot. And I practiced the piano and the flute enough back in the day that, you know, I don't want to spend that kind of time. I just don't want to spend that kind of time in one art form. Some people who are really good at it. Dee Dee Willingham's really good at it. She has shown lots of calligraphy and brush lettering too, I think. But there are a lot of people online, but just a few that I know who do really well with it. And boy, if you don't do really well with it, you need to just stay out of it. You know what I mean? Until you practice enough to get good at it. So I don't do that. Yeah. I do a lot of, hey, Jan. Hello, Mr. Bear. Hi, Jan. When I do lettering, I just do my own sketchy, scrawly kinds of letters. That's what I do because it works for me. You got to find what works for you, Okay, so back to this. So anyway, little Miss Emily decided finally that I was okay, but that was on the day that they were going to leave. And so, you just got to go with the flow with little kids. But even though we FaceTime a lot, she really wasn't having it. She was, and when they got home, I think it took them like 10 hours to get back home after they left here. And once they got home, I think it was the next day, she took a nap from 12:30 to 5:30 or 6. She was just worn to a frazzle. Poor little thing. Poor little baby girl. She was worn to a frazzle. Okay, so this leaf is this is a side view of the leaf. And so we're going to emphasize this. I'm going to emphasize this side because this is where the leaf is kind of folded, for lack of a better terminology. It's folded here. This is like the center. This area is the center of the leaf. So I'm going to add a little more ink here so that it gives you more of that impression. You can give more of that impression by changing the color or adding color also. It's a little, some people do really, really well with pen and ink sketches. It's again, most things, if you want to get really good at it, you need to practice it. I tend to want to just play. I tend to want to play. And I have very much that magpie kind of attitude of, oh, look, a shiny thing. It's kind of that squirrel mentality too, it's like, oh, look. Oh, well, I haven't tried that. Oh, well, I haven't tried that. I should try this. I should try that. I should try the other thing. And so sometimes, yeah, there's some things I'm really good at. There's some, most things I'm just marginally good at. But there's a few things I would say that I'm pretty good at. But by and large, I just know a little bit about a lot of stuff. And that's okay with me. I can accept that about me. So, yeah, brush lettering and all that kind of stuff. There are people out there that are so much better than I am that there's no point in me trying to compete with them. So we'll do a few more of these we'll do this stem and then we'll call it good and move on to something else. This is just kind of a warm-up, kind of a time to chat, So where was I yesterday? Well, I was, you remember a few weeks ago, back in April, tell Race and miss him, hanging out with him. It's great. He's out living life. Hey, Beth. You know what? I'm going to send him a text right now, and I'm going to tell him that you guys miss him. So I'm going to tell him right now. We'll see if we can goad him and we'll guilt him into showing up. Okay, here's what I said to him. We'll see if we can guilt him into showing up. I'm live online streaming. The viewers are talking about missing you. Want to pop in for a minute? Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can guilt him into showing up. He's probably watching in the background. I don't get much by him, let me tell you. So anyway, so remember a few weeks ago, I went to Las Vegas for lunch. You guys remember that? It was in April. I told you about it was a fundraiser that the Studley Duck took me to. It was for his daughter-in-law is one of the, I can't remember her exact title, but anyway, she was really, she has something to do, she has something to do with the fundraising aspect. I should know her exact title, but I don't. Anyway, so I went to Las Vegas for lunch. There are things I've done in the last year or so I've never done in my life. That would be tops on the list, to fly to Las Vegas for lunch. Never. Well, the Studley Duck was going to meet some people that are very important in their family. Not biological family members, but very important people in their family, and he was going to drive 3.5 hours for lunch, and he invited me to go, and so I thought, okay, I think that sounds like a lot of fun. So I was the backup plan, because he had some other people that might go with him, since that's usually my day to stream. But the backup plan, or the original people, didn't pan out, and so I ended up the backup plan, and so I got to go to drive 3.5 hours away for lunch. Okay, that's where I'm going to stop on those for now. Can you see how just a little bit of ink, you saw how much time I spent on that? Not a lot, but how much time, how a little bit of ink really helps to make those images pop. What a difference it is from here to here. But there's still room so that I could put some color on them. But anyway, so this is, again, what this is from is the passage in the Bible about Song of Songs, which is chapter 2, which is about the spring crocus and the lily of the valley. So that is where that came from. Anyway, so I must confess that what I did was I Googled, because Google and I are like this, aren't we all? And I Googled where passages with flowers in the Bible, because I really like drawing flowers, just because. So anyway, so we drove. Not exactly, Tracy. No, not exactly. Whoop. Don't you hate it when your iPhone, my iPhone, I set it down, and every once in a while it starts recording, because I'm not watching it. It will start recording my conversation. Somehow I activate the mic part of the, oh goodness. Okay, let me see if I can do it this way. I need to get rid of this. Nope, I'm just going to have to. Anyway, it sat here and recorded my entire conversation that I was just having with you guys. And then it was going to send it as a text, which would be gobbledygook to anybody. Stream of consciousness talking is never good to be recorded. which is why it fascinates me that sometimes people are here. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not dating James Bond. No, I'm not. But the Studley Duck he is a social butterfly, which if any of you know me, it is the absolute opposite of who I am. So it is a great, it's a great challenge to me to be more social. Those of us who tend to do this stuff where we sit in a room, we appear to be very social people. There's a couple of other streamers that I can tell you about. And they would tell you the same thing. You seem very gregarious and outgoing because you are, streaming. But in reality, most of us are very shy and introverted. It takes a lot to get out there, put yourself out there in public to interact with people. In fact, I met someone today when I was going to journal earlier this morning. I was going to journal, and I'm walking into the place where I normally journal in this. It was a young man. I mean, he's younger than me, so anybody younger than me is young. Says, well, how are you doing? And I'm looking at him and I'm going, I mean, you know how it does? Your mind just goes as you're trying to place, and it's like, I know the face. I've seen him before. Cannot place where. Don't know the name. It won't come to me. And then you got to, clearly he knows me. I don't know him. I'm like, man, it's a beautiful day today. Just like all of a sudden your brain is like, you know what I mean? So anyway, that kind of stuff drives me crazy. It's like, how can I not know? I know the face. I've seen the face. How can this not? No, it was a Mizzou to Las Vegas. Two different things. We've mixed our lunches, Ruth. Lunch in Las Vegas was in April. Lunch yesterday was about a 3.5 hour drive. So we will talk more about that in a minute. Anyway, so that's where I was yesterday. I went for lunch. And we had the same restaurant here in Columbia, where I live. We have the same restaurant here, but we drove to Illinois, 3.5 hours away to have lunch there. Because that's what you do when the Studley Duck is part of your life. That's what you do. Okay, let us get going here. Let's set this up, and then I'll tell you more stuff while I stitch. Hopefully I can stitch and talk at the same time. We'll see. The last time I streamed, I did a ribbon. I did a pieced ribbon cover for a notebook, for a journal, and I thought we would add stitching to it. Now, before I do this, I haven't done this before. That's one of the things I like to do on stream, is I like to try things out. And I used to think that I always had to know ahead of time how things were going to work out. Of course, I can't see what I'm doing, so can't see to thread the needle with my glasses on. I know a lot of people can't see to thread the needle without glasses, but my vision issue is the absolute opposite of what a lot of people. The older I get, the less I need correction up close, and the more I have to take my glasses off to be able to see up close. I know. I never did do anything the normal way. That's okay. All right? It's okay. It's okay. So anyway, as I was saying, I generally I used to think that I needed to do everything in a way that, I needed to know ahead of time what the end result was going to be of whatever I was doing. And you know what I found out? I found out that it was better if I just played and just decided to see what happened. And so that's what I do a lot of the time with you guys now. Once in a while I do something that I really know what I'm doing, but a lot of times I just do what, I just do stuff and just see what happens. So I gotta get my machine kind of at an angle you guys can see, hopefully. Because I have to put it at an angle where you can see, and sometimes it's a very awkward angle for me to work at, but oh well, too bad, so sad. Adventure time, yes. No, Ruth, you're not crazy, I am. So I'll tell you I have a couple of, you have to just like hang with me. Because sometimes my train of thought it gets on a track, and here's the track, and the track goes like this, and I might go left, I might go right, but eventually I'll come back and hopefully bring the tracks back together. Right? That's right. And I encourage you to do the same thing. Okay, let's go. So what I have here is, this is the piece that I did with you guys, Chance is back. This is the piece that I put together. These are all ribbons from this. I have 2 boxes of these ribbons and a big bag, and I haven't put them away, so that's why I thought we'd just keep working on these ribbons. I want to do another cover for the bigger moleskin notebook that I have that I need a cover for. I want to do that as well. And I thought I might do that today, but I don't know if it'll happen or not. So I just want to stitch on this, and so I have in the top thread, I have not this exact, I have King Tut thread, King Tut quilting embroidery thread, and it's not this color. I'll block out the color because it's not this color. But it is a 40 weight thread. It's cotton. It's wonderful thread. 500 yards on a spool. It's by the Superior Thread Company. I used to be able to buy these in my local quilt store, and then the quilt store sold to some new, used to be owned by a woman, now it's sold to a man. And I got no problem with men, but I just wish that he hadn't gone in and changed everything. Yes, hello. But he changed a lot of things, and he discontinued carrying that thread. And I'm like, really? Why? It is my favorite thread, but it must not have been a popular seller for some reason. Anyway, fortunately, I'd collected a lot of colors of this thread, and now I have to order it online. And there's some things I don't want to order online. I don't want to order fabric online unless it's basic. But if it's colors or quilting, I don't want to do that. I want to have my hands on it, and thread is another one. Anyway. So, anyway, let's do this, okay? Let's do this thing. So I've set my machine up for free motion stitching, which means I have an open toe foot. This foot, I had Clausman take the toes out, so he actually sawed those, cut those out, and then smoothed them. Now they make the feet that way. I like it for visibility issues. Anyway, let's see what else. I'm using the King Tut thread in the top. I've loosened the top tension so that the King Tut thread will go to the back a little bit, and I don't bring the bobbin thread up to the top. Okay, so I brought the bobbin thread up just for the purpose of not making thread puke on the back of the work. And so I'm going to just do some stitching, and I need to put the needle down, and I'm going to clip these threads so they are out of the way, and they're not going to make a thread. The nice way of saying it is they don't make a thread nest on the back of the work. The truth is, if you look at it and it does the thing it does, it's thread puke. Looks terrible. You just won thread roulette. What does that mean, Becky? What does that mean? You just won thread roulette. Tell me that. Okay, so here we go. And so I'm just doing some kind of random stitching. Oh, she was able to get through 2 seams before the bobbin ran out. Yeah, that is thread roulette. That definitely is. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around this little flower, and then I'm going to just go around this. Since this is kind of the center motif, I'm just going around it to start with. And then from there, I'm going to decide what I'm going to do, which is probably, what am I going to do? I'm probably just going to do like a spiral that is square. And I'm not going to care about how meticulous this is, okay? I'm just not going to do that. So I'm going to let it be kind of random. And I may have to come back and do some other random stitching to make it even more, to make it work for me. Because that's kind of how it is. That's kind of what I have to do sometimes, is just, and you can go any direction you want, but when I'm free motion stitching, I kind of like to have it where I can see it easily. The feed dogs are down, and so I can go any direction I want to go. It's just kind of the way I like to do it. Anyway, whoop. And when you have a free open toe foot, you do have to be careful, because sometimes you can kick up the fabric, which is what I just did there. So when we went for this lunch, let's see, where am I? Here. Some unique things happened in my life this week, and when my granddaughter was here, and I have a grandson who lives close to me, but for whatever reason, we hadn't seen each other in a long time. You know, I mean, it's a variety of reasons. A lot of it was based on I just didn't have time. Because of stuff that was going on around here, I just didn't have time to deal with anything other than what I was dealing with, you know? But because my granddaughter was here, and it's her brother, we decided she was going to get together with her brother. Did I do this already? No. Okay. See, talking and doing this at the same time is somewhat of a challenge for me. Did I do that already? Yes, I did. Never mind. Let's go over here. There we go. And so, I don't know if I did this one or not. We're going to do it. I can't talk and do this. Oh, goodness. Barb needs to practice talking and doing at the same time. So we met her brother, my grandson, at a park. And he has since had 3 children that I've never met. Like I said, long story, doesn't matter. The details don't matter. And so I got to meet the 3 more great-grandchildren that I'd never met. And so that was a lot of fun. And it was a good meeting, and it was a good, everything was good about it. right? Everything was good about it. I didn't know what to expect because he didn't know I was coming. So it was a big, like, oh, this could go so horribly bad, but it didn't. It went really well. And so I got to be with 2 grandchildren. Now, admittedly, they're step-grandchildren, but they are my grandchildren. I got to be with them, and I was with 4 great-grandchildren, 3 of whom I had not met before. So it's a little weird for them, of course, because they don't know who I am. They have no idea, and yeah, you know, life is weird, especially when you get crazy busy doing whatever it is, like taking care of people while they're in the last parts of their life. Okay, I got to get over here to do this. So, pardon the ramblings of a crazy person here. But I'm rambling as I'm stitching. I realize that. Okay, let's see here. All right. There is a point to this rambling story, which I'll get to in just a moment. And all I'm doing here is just doing some extra stitching because some of these ribbons were so wide that they're not going to stay stitched down very easily without a little extra help here. Okay, let's see, where else do I have to go? I need to come over to here. I'll stop in a minute and tell you the rest of the story, okay? All right, yeah, I did that. Okay. Let me get down here. And this is, I could do this with the feed dogs up if I wanted to and be very meticulous about how I'm stitching this. But you know what? I'm not, because I don't want to do that. So there you go. Oh, and I think I just ran out of bobbin thread. Yep. Becky, thread roulette, babe. Thread roulette. Okay, so while I'm having to fill the bobbin, I'll tell you the rest of the story. So, met the grandson. Oh, no, I didn't run out. It just decided to just make a big mess. Well, how rude is that? My bobbin just decided to make a mess. That's unusual. Yeah. Anyway, so at the end of the conversation, the end of the time that we were together, the kids are all playing in the park, and I'm catching up with the grandson, and you know, we were all kind of doing our own thing there. And at the end of the time that we were together, because we were then going to go have dinner. Okay, I've got a piece of thread that's causing me a problem. That's probably what happened here. Piece of lint. All right, got it. We're good. Anyway, at the end of the time, I said, can I take a family picture of you guys? Because I hadn't had one, you know, for a long time, obviously. And they said, oh, yeah. So they're calling the boys. The little boys are, the oldest one's 9, and then there's 2 other little boys younger than that. Okay? And so they're calling them. And all of a sudden, from nowhere in the park, okay, you see my skin color and you see how very, very pale I am. Well, my whole family is pretty much like that, except for Izzy, who is married to my son, who's Filipino. She's got nice brown skin. But everybody else in the family pretty much is all very light skinned. And from nowhere in the park comes this very dark skinned little boy. And he comes over and we're kind of setting up the picture. My grandson's sitting on this rock wall. And this little boy from nowhere shows up and plants himself right beside my grandson. I don't have any gum, Ruth. I don't have any gum. Thread cluster? Oh no, it's not thread cluster. It's thread puke. It's thread puke, Beth. Close your eyes. Close your ears. Don't listen. Don't look. Anyway, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. So this little boy comes over and sits down. He's old enough to talk well, but he's pretty small. Too small to be in a park by himself. And so I think my grandson said to him, hey man, what's your name? And so he told him. And the little boy said he was 5. And he just sat there, and I said, we're going to take some pictures. This little boy says, okay. It's true, Tracy. It's true. So far this year, I have gotten to meet 3, 4, 5 great-grandchildren that I'd never met before. So, yeah, since December. So, pretty cool, huh? So anyway, this little boy is sitting there, and he's very happy that we're going to take a family picture. And so I have my iPhone out because that's who carries a camera anymore. Yeah, none of us. And so I take a picture it's a hysterical picture of this little boy. I would show it to you, but I do not have permission to use his likeness, and I haven't talked to my grandson and asked him if I could use his, so I don't do that. And this little boy is sitting there with a nice little smile on his face, very dark skin, lots of braids in his hair, adorable, cutest little thing. And my grandson has this funny smile on his face, and he's pointing to this little kid with his eyebrows raised like, I don't know. It's the greatest picture. So you've got the image. So now come his children, my grandson's children, who, like I said, the oldest one is 9, and the mother of the kids, and then my granddaughter and her little girl. So they're all sitting, posing themselves any way they want, because I don't care. And I'm going to take pictures. And so somebody in the group says to this little boy, we're going to take some pictures. And he's like, okay. And she's, they're trying to nicely get him to move out of the family picture. And finally, in a matter of seconds, I said, he's fine. And so we have this whole group family picture of all of these very light-skinned family members with this one little dark-skinned, beautiful boy right in the middle that we don't know where he came from or who he belongs to, but he's now permanently recorded in our family. and then a little girl shows up, and he says it's his sister, and she's little. They're too little to be on their own, but we couldn't figure out who they belong to. And so it was time for my granddaughter and I and the great-granddaughter to leave. And so I was concerned about, we were all concerned about what was going to happen to this little guy. My grandson says, it's okay, I'll take care of him. It's just like, yeah, Beth, probably. It is like the best picture. And so I wish I could show it to you, but I respect all of their privacy, so I won't do that. But it was so funny. It was so cute. And it's like you can't orchestrate that kind of stuff. You just have to let it happen and let life just unfold in front of you, and just don't screw up the opportunity you've been given to enjoy what you have right in front of you. It was so adorable. It was so cute. Oh goodness, it was so cute. Anyway, okay. So, so I'll tell you the rest of the story, another story here shortly about lunch yesterday. I'm just looking to make sure I have most of this stitched down in a way that, it's okay. It's good enough. It's good enough for a book cover. We're not going to do any more on this one, okay? It's good enough. We'll leave it. So apparently Race did not get the message, or he's ignoring us, which could be. He could be ignoring us because he didn't show up, did he? It is a great family story. It is great. And I just, what I pray? I pray that this little boy, has family, and that somebody cares about him. Somebody will come, and that somebody was there that we just didn't see. I hope that that's the case. I hope that he has had somebody there that just momentarily got distracted and didn't realize that he was interacting with strangers. And fortunately that strangers that he chose to interact with were good people, because there are a lot of sketchy people in the world that would not have been safe. And this little boy had no idea. He clearly had not been taught about stranger danger or anything else. Clearly had not been taught that. He actually asked my granddaughter when we were leaving. He wanted to know if he could go with her. Could he get in the car and go with her? And you're like, oh my goodness. Somebody needs to talk to this little boy about, you just don't do this stuff. But anyway. So, what we're going to do now, which way do I want this? We're going to do it this way. What I'm going to do now, I know, right, you guys? I know it is. And it's like, how come no one's paying attention to this child? But anyway. So bless my grandson's heart. He said, don't worry about it. I'll take care of him. So I don't know what that meant, because I didn't hear any more in the story. But anyway, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, let me get this set up and then we'll do it. I'm going to, I need to do cover two more sheets of this stabilizer. And so I'm going to, I'm just setting up the first piece of this ribbon, because I'm determined to use more of this ribbon. Like I'm ever going to make a dent in the amount of ribbon I have, you guys. That's okay. It's okay. It's what it is. I have so much blooming ribbon here. Oh my goodness. Look at this mess. Yeah. Okay, let's put this ribbon, let's get this on here. I'm just getting it set up so that we can, I can tell you. So speaking of interesting events, interesting life events, yesterday when I was going for lunch with, driving 3 hours for lunch, 3.5 hours. Just getting this started so I know what I'm doing. Okay. We were going for lunch to meet two young people who are from Haiti. Originally from Haiti. They now live in one lives in the United States. There was a brother and sister. And one lives in the United States. The other one lives in Canada now. And there's a long story as to how they ended up in the United States, and I don't know all the, I probably know the details, but it's not my story to tell in that part. And but as I said, I was going with the Studley Duck for lunch over in 3.5 hours away. It was over in Illinois. And we were meeting the brother and sister who originally had come from Haiti. We were meeting them for lunch, and because the brother, who now lives out of the United States, was in the States to see his family. And I had never met them, and so they kind of knew about me, I think, but I was like, oh, great, somebody else is going to get to know to figure out whether I'm okay or not. Whoops, sorry, wrong camera. Here we go. But the Studley Duck refers to these kids as his Haitian children. And because some of them had lived with him at various times or stayed, kind of their house acted as a home base for them at some points and everything. And if I screw up the story, apologies to anyone who I screw up the story for. But we had the nicest lunch as I got to know these young people. And once again, the Studley Duck and I are both we're both as Caucasian and light-skinned as you can get. And the Haitian children, who are not children, they are young adults, are about as dark in skin as the little boy in the park. So it's like, this has been a really interesting week, because we have become, my family, my people who are part of my gathering, we are all now becoming quite a calico group. And I don't mean that in any offensive way. I hope that you understand that I say that with all love and respect, because we're just all people in the end. And so we have, again, more wonderful family pictures where we have this great contrast of really and truly gorgeous people with us. So it's just so great. It was so great. It is, Andrea, it is. So we had the best time. I totally enjoyed getting to know these young people. The sister is in college. She's finished her first year of school in college. She wants to be a physician, and that's what she's working toward. And it was just so much fun to talk to her and talk to her brother and find out more about their family, their family of origin, and how they all got here, and learning more about them. And it was like, wow, you know what? I didn't envision I would ever get that kind of privilege in my life to be able to open. What I've found is that there's plenty of room in your heart to open yourself up to all different kinds of people and situations. And I haven't always been very good at doing that. I've gone through periods of time where I've done very well with it, and other periods of time I haven't been worth shooting for that. We've had kids in our life back when I've told you about Show Me Christian Youth Home, and we were very involved with them for a long time. And we would have, at Christmas time, we would get kids' names for providing Christmas gifts, or some of the Christmas gifts for the kids. And that was a really special thing. It was really good for our son, and we did that from the time he was pretty small. and he loved to go Christmas shopping for the kids, whomever the kid's name that we had for Christmas that year. And he loved going shopping for those kids. And he'd say, we should get this for, and he was great about that. I just flipped a pin on the floor. Hopefully Chance won't find it. I got to remember to find that here before I quit for the day. Anyway, so it was not unusual for a long time for us to have people that would join us for holidays, especially Christmas. I had friends that were going through divorces, and, their kids were having issues and stuff. And so we would often, gather people. But I'm telling you, Studley Duck has me beat all over the place when it comes to gathering people. He has got me beat, absolutely. So I'm back into gathering people again, expanding my family, and being given new opportunities to love other people. So what I have to say to you is, don't deny yourself the opportunity to love other people, and look for the opportunities, because you never know. Maybe a little random boy in a park. It could be acquired grandchildren or great-grandchildren or step-grandchildren or whomever. And you know what? Everybody's worth being loved. Everybody's worth being loved. Okay, so I'm just doing random or diagonal random placement of ribbons on this. I know it's a little hard to see, but when it's done, it won't take very long to fill this sheet of stabilizer. So when it's done, then you'll be able to see it. I know, you just gotta gather up people. And there's plenty of people that need a space to go, need places to be, need to be and deserve to be loved. Right? Right. Okay, let's add this one. Oh, these ribbons are going to be such a horrible mess when I'm done with it. It's going to be a terrible mess, you guys. Hey, Devin. Hello. So, anyway, you never know. Here's the thing. You never know when you interact with somebody, even if it's one time, even if it's that little guy in the park. You don't know that one interaction with him may be the one that changes his life, So don't deny yourself, or the people you come in contact with, don't deny them that. Don't be too busy, and don't deny them the opportunity of spending time with them, because you just don't know when you may be that one time that you interact with them, may be the one time that they hang on to, for the rest of their lives, or for a really long time, or maybe it changes the course of their life. It can be the words that you say to them. It could be the just the fact that your arms are open to them. It can be a lot of things. So watch, and sometimes you miss those opportunities. You just don't even realize that, you may miss the opportunity completely. And yeah, just keep your eyes open. That's the message of the day. That's Barb's word of the day. Keep your eyes open for opportunities. All right, let's go down this road here. We're sewing ribbon roads. So what I've done is I've used this fabric glue stick. It's called Sew Line. I don't know if you can see Sew Line. It's a fabric glue stick. This is the thing. So that's what I'm using. I could use just a regular glue stick too. I just thought I would show you this one because sometimes it's good to see options. And so I'm just stitching these ribbons, overlapping them. You could do this with fabric also, you know, regular fabric. I'm doing it with ribbons because I have, as we know, as I have shown you, I have lots of ribbons. We might actually put some lace on top of this. I don't know. We'll see what we think. We'll see what we think here. Barbara Clark says, I know what you're talking about, Barb. One of my favorite friendships was the woman I taught at a Jewish home. She could no longer speak, but through the computer class she could communicate. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool, Barbara. Anybody else have opportunities or things like that that you, if you want to share something, pop it in the chat. Would love to hear what you have to say. Put some of this ugly ribbon on here. These ribbons are butt ugly, people. They are butt ugly. until they go down, you know, with each other, and then I'll do some other kind of fancy or not stitching on this, and we'll see if we can, you know, change it. They change as you are brave enough to put them down and stitch them together, you know, by themselves. They are butt ugly. And if that offends you, I'm so sorry. Sorry, not sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah. Some days I really care about. Oh, Barb, you have to be very careful. You know what I found out? I found out you can offend people and you don't even mean to offend people. I told you a long time ago when I first started streaming on YouTube, I had a lady who left me a comment in the comment field after the video was, you know, was live, and she let me know that I didn't do a good job putting makeup on my eyebrows. That I was too old to have eyebrows. Now, bear in mind, this is what, 7-8 years ago? I don't know. I was too old to have eyebrows the color I had. Too bad, so sad, lady. Too bad, so sad. Is what it is. My eyebrows are the color they are. I can't help it that my eyebrows haven't changed the same color as my hair did. Yeah, you can offend people. You can offend people. Because there are some people out there that are just itching to be offended, you know? And so sometimes you can love them out of it, and sometimes you can't. Now, I've seen a few people since those days because eyebrow colors and eyebrow, enhancing, we'll say enhancing eyebrows has, you know, that has taken on life of its own now, right? And there are some eyebrows out there, and I'm like, I've thought about that a few times, and I thought, wow, I wonder what she'd think of that now. I thought about that. Don't have any idea who the lady is. Don't need to know. Doesn't matter. I think she was just looking for somebody to, you know, say something to. Anyway, all right, let me put on another color. I'm looking for another ribbon here, another ribbon that I want to add. Let's put one of these little bitty dudes on here. Little bitty dude ribbon. And you know, there are sometimes you can't satisfy people. It doesn't make any difference what you do. You're not going to satisfy them. I gave up on that. It's got, you know what? I can only do me. I can only do me. Well, that's true. Andrea, she says she tries to leave her house with patience and goodwill. You know, sometimes I'm pretty good at that, and sometimes I'm not worth a bean. Yep. Sometimes I'm not worth a bean. Okay, let me put this on here, then I'll switch cameras so you can see it, how it's coming along. If you have ribbon, and these ribbons, all of these ribbons are embroidered ribbons. Some of them are pretty heavily embroidered, some are not. Some are pretty heavily embroidered that I have, but they're all old. All of them are old. There's not a new one in the bunch. They would be called vintage. Vintage ribbons. Yes. Okay, so let's put this one on. All right. That's what I am now, you know. I prefer to say that I'm not old. I am vintage. Yep, I'm vintage. And when you achieve the status of vintage, oh, I just unthreaded my needle. Well, that was really smart, Barb. When you achieve vintage status, you know, life is a little different than it used to be, huh? That's okay. All right. When you thread your needle, make sure your presser foot is in the up position so that the thread seats properly in the tension discs of your sewing machine. Because even if all you did was unthread the needle and all you need to do is rethread the needle, sometimes you may have accidentally popped that thread out of the tension discs. So be sure you put your presser foot, which is this thing, up, not down. If you thread the needle when your presser foot is down, it does not go in the tension discs right, and that's what causes most of your stitching issues, is tension problems from not threading the machine properly. All right, I don't know that I want that. That's so shiny. Let's go for something else. Let's see, what else? Well, we got this one. That's equally shiny. We don't want that one either. Oh, Barb's gone into her picky phase now. Oh my goodness. All right, what color do I want? Let's use this one. One of the problems with this trim or these ribbons is finding the end of it. Yeah, we'll put this one on here. You're vintage too. I think there's a lot of us that are vintage. I think there's a lot of us. We don't want to admit it, but you know, there's a lot of us that fall into vintage. Yes, Devin, especially when people park poorly, especially jerks that park you into your parking place so you can't park so close to you that you can't even get in your own darn car. Yeah, that was not a good day. You guys don't know what we're talking about. I told a whole big story about how this jerk, you know, so much for loving your fellow man. This jerk parked so close to my car with his whoop-ass pickup truck that I could not get in my car. So I told the whole story. It was a couple of weeks ago. It took me a long time to tell it, a lot longer than it took me to actually figure out how to get in my car. The guy was a jerk. But I'm not mad. I'm over it. You can tell, can't you? Had to crawl in from the passenger side, crawl over the console. Okay, when you're 20, that's not so hard to do. When you're my age, it's a little more challenging. So you're a lot less graceful. Yeah. Whole lot less graceful. Anyway, yes, such as it is. Okay, so we got that. So let me show you what we've got so far, just so you can see. Okay, so that's what we got so far. So I'm just about to finish covering this. Cart boy, you know that cart boy went back. You know he went back in the store and told his friends, all his other cart people, you should have seen this woman. Thank goodness I had on jeans. Thank goodness I had on blue jeans that day. That could have been so bad. Could have been so bad. Could have been really, really bad. Could have been really bad. You know he went in there. You know he went back there and told all his friends about the crazy woman in the parking lot that had steam coming out of her ears. You know he did. You know he did. High school kids. You know how it is. They're sometimes real helpful and sometimes not so much. I don't know what he could have done. Probably nothing. But in that moment, it's like, yeah. I wasn't in a very good mood that day. You know what life comes down to a lot of the time? It comes down to respect. It just comes down to respecting other people. You know, think about what the world would be like if you just respected other people. Not disrespected, but just respected other people. A lot of things in the world could change. You could have differing viewpoints. You could have a lot of things that you don't understand, but would be willing to learn about, be willing to discuss. If you just simply understood, respected people, think about how that could change so much. Yep, just think about that a minute. All right, just going to cut this off. And we're ready to start going down the other side. The other side of this. So we've got this. Okay, I know I'm really close up, but I'm doing that on purpose so you can kind of see how these ribbons interact with each other. And so now what I'm ready to do is cover this little bit that's left here. So let's see what we can put in here, shall we? See what ribbon we can stick in here. Hey Sharon, I'm going to reuse some of these ribbons. Maybe this one I'll put in here because it's so ugly. Then it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look so bad when it's got stuff around it, but my goodness, this is an ugly ribbon. Whew, ugly. The glue stick just kind of helps. It acts like a third hand, you know, so you can just kind of help control the wiggliness a little bit. I also put in a few pins just to kind of help secure the edge, but the glue stick does kind of help. If you only had pins, yeah, pins are fine. Just use some pins. Tracy and Devin are heading out. Hope you have a good weekend. Look for opportunities to add to your world. It is 70s looking, isn't it? It is. That's probably where a lot of these ribbons came from. Because this lady who was cleaning out her stash, this is years ago, she was cleaning out her stash, okay? Years ago. Probably a good 20 years ago, and she brought in all this stuff to a store where I was working, and she wanted us, several of us, in the store to have it. To have her stash. And so, you know, there are times when you do not, even if you don't like it, like these were butt ugly ribbons, people. These were, I've told you, you know, you see them. And I'm like, there are times when you don't say anything, you just say thank you, right? You just say thank you. I know people have done that when I'm giving stuff away. I know that. But look, if I hadn't taken those ribbons, I wouldn't have had materials to do these streams. And I wouldn't have had the things to end up with an interesting couple of book covers. And if the people that end up with these books don't like them, they can rip the cover off and put something else on it. Don't you think? I think so. All right, no, I don't want that one. Let's go back to one of these other ones. This one. I really like this heart. Probably because it's got hearts on it. Ooh. What is that? That's not even the same one as that. That must have been in the sun. Look at that. Okay, can you see the difference in that? Look. This must have been in the sun. And right here there is either that or the thread color changed. Can you see that? You probably can't see it. It's a distinct color change in the background. Well, let's just take advantage of that, shall we? Why not? Let's just use it. You like the ribbons, Nana? I'm glad. I'm glad. They certainly are. I don't think they're the ones that you see available in stores today. Yeah, I don't think they're ones that are available today. All right, let's put this one on here because this. I'll show you. This is the same from the same yardage of ribbon as the one on the other side of where I started. It's the very same ribbon. And it looks like it is a completely different piece. All right, let's stitch it on. Let's get this on here. What time is it getting to be? We got plenty of time. We got plenty of time, don't we? What's time anyway? The background stabilizer that I'm using, this is Stable Stuff. It's Ricky Tim's Stable Stuff. I understood by some things that he said not long ago. He's a quilter. Ricky Tim's is a quilter, if you're not familiar with him. But that the stabilizer wasn't available for a while. I don't know if it got screwed up during the pandemic and the supply chain issues. I don't know what happened. But anyway, it wasn't available for a while. And so apparently it's available again. But it comes in, I think it's 8.5 by 11 sheets. It is my favorite stabilizer at the moment. You know how we change products and we have different interests, and you know, my favorite thing is this, my favorite thing is that. Well, this is my favorite stabilizer right now. I really like it a lot. And but it is Ricky Tim's. So I'm going to show this to you in the front camera. Okay, this ribbon right here, this one, and this ribbon right here are from the same bolt. So let's see if I can do this. This one and this one are the same. And the color background is totally different. Totally different. Completely different. So, hey Janice. It's not ugly, it's mid-century. That's probably why it's ugly to me, because that was when I was born, mid-century. But we're not. I wasn't even mid-century. I was before the mid-century. Oof. Yeah. Oof. Hey, I'm living the life. I'm having a great life. So, you know, we're not gonna fuss about that, are we? We're just moving on. Okay, so I'm going to use this one next. Boy. I had a brother-in-law one time, and anytime he wasn't sure about, it was on my husband's side of the family, Clausman's side of the family. And anytime he wasn't sure about something, but he didn't want to offend people, his expression was, boy, boy, boy. Boy, boy, boy. And I think that is a great expression, personally. Boy, boy, boy. Because it really doesn't tell anybody exactly what you mean. But everybody kind of knows. You know, it's kind of like saying bless her heart. Everybody kind of knows that sketchy, sketchy. Okay, so let's do this one. So let's see, what else did I have to tell you? Let me find my list. Oh, here it is. Oh, yeah. I got to go to a Blix yesterday. I forgot to tell you that part. I got to go to Blix. And, of course, Blix is a big online retailer, but they do have some retail stores you can go into. And a long time ago, I had been into a Blix. It used to be called Dick Blix, but then they changed their name for obvious reasons. And if you don't know what the obvious reason is, I'm sorry, I'm not going to draw you a picture. Not going to do it. You cannot make me. And so there was a Blix that we're going to go to because I asked very nicely. There's the ribbon that I just did. I asked very nicely and politely and begged a little bit. And all right, I'm going to use this pink ribbon because I think it'll work with this other background here. Let's put this one. And because, sometimes you need to put in what's called a poison color, something that just really brightens up everything. So we're going to use this. Anyway, so there was this Blix. Well, it was going to close. I thought there's not a chance in the world that we will get there. Not a single solitary chance we'll get there before it closed. We got there before it closed. People, we got there before it closed. And they met us at the door and said, just a minute, I'm going to pin this and then I'm going to tell you what they said. This is a lesson in customer service, or the lack thereof, right? That's what I'm going to tell you. And anybody who hasn't worked in customer service, whether it's in the service industry of some kind, you really should. It will make you a better human. It will make you a better consumer. It will just make you better all the way around. You really do need to work in customer service of some kind. They met us at the door and said, now, just so you know, we're closing in 10 minutes. Listen, I was grateful I got there at all. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'd already looked it up online. I knew they were closing in 10 minutes, but I just said, okay. So walked up one aisle, and of course it's like a kid in a candy store. I mean, there's it's not some of the colors of Liquitex paints. It's all the brands of Liquitex paints, all the kinds, all the colors, all the everything, all the box sets, the individual sets, the one-ofs. Listen, the first thing you see when you walk in this store is a carousel of Jelly Roll pens. Okay? An entire carousel of pens. It is like overload on steroids to your eyes. Those of you that know what Jelly Roll pens are, they are pens that I use all the time in mandalas. And of course, I picked up a couple, but and it was not some of the Jelly Roll pens. It was all the Jelly Roll pens available open stock. I could have spent the last 10 minutes that I had there just looking at Jelly Roll pens. But I didn't. I go zooming down the aisles because, yes, I only have 10 minutes. And so, by golly, I'm going to make the most of my 10 minutes. Right? Yes. Do I want to put this on? I don't know if I want to put this ribbon on here or not. I don't think so. Sorry. I'm talking to myself. And so I think, do I want to put this one? Yeah, we'll do this one. And so we walk down the aisle, and oh, there's a pretty one. See, now this is a problem when you start doing this stuff, because then you're like, ooh, there's a pretty ribbon. Oh, there's a pretty ribbon. This one needs to be ironed, unfortunately. We're going to have to work hard on this one. Anyway, so I walk down the aisle, go down one aisle, and I'm starting to drool, because it's all the Liquitex colors, it's all the golden colors, it's all the Daniel Smith watercolors, and, all the brushes, all the palettes, all the papers, it's all of it. And I'm like, just, keep your, stop drooling, Barb, And I'm like, I'm such overload. And so here comes the little girl. They're all young. None of them are my, I guess, let's face it, probably nobody my age works in retail at this point. But this little girl, by little, I mean college or, high school or college. That's what I'm referring to as little girl. You know that you've got an age issue going on when you refer to people as little girls. They're clearly not little girls. Anyway, this little girl comes down the aisle after us, and she said, we're closing in 5 minutes. Duly noted. And I pick up, several things that I'm looking at, and I'm contemplating, maybe I would get that. But, I'm trying to make decisions really, really fast. Really fast. Because if I'm going to get paints, I usually buy a collection of paints because it's easier to do that, or I buy the primary colors and maybe black and white or something, so I was looking at that. And then I see the golden fluid acrylics, the wall. They have the small bottles, the big bottles, the high flow, the artist grade, they have all of it. And I'm like, oh, and she says very cheerfully, but sternly, we're closing in 5 minutes. Got it. Oh, man. Would any of you like to guess how much I spent before I left? Just put in the chat and see if you can guess how much I spent before I left. Oh, it was, Tracy. It was such a shiny squirrel moment. Magpie, shiny squirrel, everything. Yep, it was. Yeah. How much do you think I spent? None of you have gotten it yet. None of you have it yet. Keep guessing. Trolley Dash. Mary, you get the prize. Mary got the prize. 0. Absolutely nothing. Why do you think I spent 0? Barbara Clark got it. Yep. Brenda got it. Several of you got it. Why do you think I spent 0? Because when somebody's trying to hurry you out the door, you're not getting my money. Nope. Not getting my money. Never mind. Now, that doesn't mean I won't go back sometime and spend time there, but you're not going to hurry me. You're not going to hurry me. I could have, in the 10 minutes that I was there, I could have very easily, because you all know, when I mention golden paints, those of you that are, that know golden paints, I could have easily spent $500 to $1,000 in a heartbeat. In 10 minutes, I could have easily spent that amount of money. Easily. Instead, they got zip. Yep. And then they had locked us in. So they had to come unlock the door. And she was nice enough, but she did kind of act like it's a tad bit inconvenient to unlock the door. Just a little bit. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but, you know. Oh, well, we locked the door. If you want to get rid of this, I guess you're going to unlock the door. Everybody should work in customer service. Everyone. I don't care who you are. You should work in customer service. If you're too old, you know, if you passed your prime, not mentioning any names, but if you've passed your primes to stand on your feet all day long and work in retail, you could be a greeter sitting on a stool at Walmart now, couldn't you? Still customer service. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Anyway, okay, let's put this, let's see, what am I going to do now? What am I looking for now? I'm looking this. I wonder how bad it would be to put this shiny gold and white ribbon on here. Oh, it's not bad. Oh, it's not bad. We'll put this on here. Maybe I'll put the white side up. Is that what I want? Nope, I want the gold side up. Okay, I'm talking to myself. You know, I read you that thing the other day. I read you that thing that was if you see me talking to myself, just move along. I'm self-employed. We're having a staff meeting. Yes, so remember that. When you hear me discussing things right here in the studio in front of you, it's because I'm having a staff meeting. Just move along. Mm-hmm. That's right. Just keep moving. Don't pay any attention. Okay, just don't pay attention. Just move on. Just move on. Oh, goodness. Yep. Clausman used to talk to himself all the time. I mean, all the time. In his case, I think it was a sign of things were changing. But, you know, it was a way he had found to keep himself anchored. For me, I think it's just, I don't know what it is. Anyway, we don't care. No one cares about that. All right, let's see. Well, let's use this one again because this will finish up. This will finish the end of this little thing right here. That'll finish it up. And then we will have finished, we will have covered this. Okay, stay on there. See, I didn't put any glue stick or pins in this one, so this is a bit squirrely. Stay put, stay put. Hang in there, baby, hang in there. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's my story about going to Blix. I'm looking forward to going back sometime, but it was a bit of a disappointment because they were the way they were. But that's something that kids don't seem to be taught about. You know, it's about they're more interested in closing, getting off early so they can do whatever it is they want to go do, as opposed to the benefit of the good of the company or the store. Anyway, so all I'm doing here is just securing the ends of the ribbons. Hopefully they're not too, hopefully they don't flip and turn on me. If they do, I'll have to fix it. I just want to get the ribbons stitched down all the way around. Then I can cut off all the excess stuff and it won't look so ragtag. So anyway, yeah. I only got to see about, I would say, maybe an eighth of the store at Blix. But what I got to see was definite eye candy. Enough for me to want to go back sometime. Okay, we did it. We did it. We got one piece of this stuff covered. I'm not going to take the time to cover the other one with you guys, but I'm going to do this much. And let me cut around it so that you can, so we have a good visual of what it really looks like. Because, you know, thread tails that hang out and little ragtag edges like this, these are things that stick out over the edges of my journal pages. Those are all things that Barb doesn't like at all. I remember when Packer Dye was here several years ago, Diane Fago was here visiting from Nebraska, and we did a stream together. I'm sure you can still find it. We did a stream together, and she showed her journals. And her journals are, I like it in somebody else, I just don't like it in mine, where her journals just had these wonderful ragtag edges. She loved having things that would stick out over the edges and all that. You know, that is not my thing. As soon as something's sticking out over the edge, man, I got to get the scissors. I got to get the scissors. And not only do I have to get the scissors, man, I got to get those pages evened up. Get all that ragtag crap off. It can stick out at the top edge of my pages if I absolutely have to. But yeah, nope, none, nope. It is not going to stick out anyplace else. I have no idea why that is. No idea. I'm going to blame it on my mom because she's not here to defend herself. I just heard back from Race. If you guys are still here, maybe he'll pop on. We're going to ask him if he's coming. We'll see what he says. Okay, so here's what I did. Okay, so there's that. It's actually going to go this way because it will go on a journal. This is the big moleskin journal, which is like composition notebook size. So it's like this. So that's why I have to have 2 pages of it. And then I'll probably have to do something for the spine. I don't know what. But anyway, that's going to be kind of what it is. Probably go like this. So this is the front. Kind of like this, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys think? It no longer looks like ugly ribbon. Barb, 27 years operator, then help desk for phone company. Oh, Jan. Oh, Jan. Yeah, it turns out okay. It's still, this one, because the ribbons, the only one that I'm really going to have to stitch another line of stitching is this one, because it's bubbly. The rest of these are narrow enough that it's okay. The one on the other one that I did that went around, I can't reach it right now. Oh, here it is. Yes, I can. This one, because I was going around and doing, got all different weird kinds of directions and stuff. This one needed a little more stitching on it. It still could use a little bit more, but I think I'm going to let it go and just let it live the way it is. Because the cover that it's going on, the journal that it's going on, it won't matter. It won't matter. So, yeah. And so I got another one of these that I need to do. But this would, this kind of thing would look great just going this way on one of the smaller journals. So if you find vintage ribbons at, garage sales, boot sales, thrift stores, whatever, that's something you can do. You might have, let's see, do I have a ribbon here I could add to the middle? Hey, Signa, good to see you. Yes, Jan, I know now. I understand. Jan says, you know why I'm crazy now. Yes, I do. I understand it completely. I wonder if we could use a piece of this down the middle of that. No, that blue isn't good. I'm looking in my bag of tricks. I'm waiting to see whether race shows up or not. Maybe we could put, no, that's ugly. I'm looking for something to go in the middle of that really wide piece of ribbon. Actually, this isn't too bad. Wait, let's do this before we quit. I think this pink would be okay. These ribbons. I had these ribbons. These ribbons were in such nice shape. They were in such nice shape until I started doing this to these ribbons. I started just willy-nilly pulling them out of the box. You know, Mary, this kind of thing is relaxing. Now, I was going to tell you earlier, and I sidetracked myself, because that happens. It's the squirrel, it's the rabbit and squirrel phenomenon, and magpie. Magpie is, oh, look, a shiny object. Squirrel goes, oh, look, there's something happening over here. Let's go see what it is. And the rabbit is, you just start talking about something and you totally sidetrack yourself. And the next thing you know, you are so far away from what you intended to do or talk about. Okay, if you guys want to stay on, Ray said give him 2 minutes. Okay, now I'm going to tell you that might not be 2 minutes, might be an exaggeration, but if you guys want to stay on 2 minutes, he promises he might make an appearance. So I'm going to say yes, please. So I'll stay on since there could be a race sighting today. Anyway, what was I talking about? See, race. Totally sidetracked me. Oh, fabric. If you want to do this with fabric, let's say you don't have ribbons. You want to do it with fabric. Then if you don't want frayed edges on your fabric, start with a strip of fabric. This is an easy one to do, to start with this diagonal thing, as opposed to the one I did before. I started on a harder one before. So start with a strip of fabric and lay the strip of fabric down. And then put another strip of fabric right sides together. So the first one is right side up. The second one is right sides together. Line up the raw edges of your fabric and stitch on the raw edge. And then flip the top one over. So it's called stitch and flip. Okay? Ah. Jan, you girl, Jan, I'll tell you what, for the Blick Fund. That was very sweet of you. She usually funds my coffee. I'm going to go broke now because I don't have any coffee fund because Jan funded the Blick thing instead. Kidding. Okay, so what I did was I added a little narrow ribbon here. So if you're doing it with fabric, then what you do is, okay, what do we want to do with this one? I think I may stitch down one side and back the other. I'm going to have to be careful on this now because the thread is such a contrast color. Anyway, so you continue that stitch and flip until you have your stabilizer or your base fabric. Sometimes I do it with felt. I'll use a felt back here instead of a stabilizer. Okay, this may go terribly wrong, and if it does, I'll rip it off. You know, nobody cares. Nobody cares. I'm doing it. I get to decide if I like it. Because what's happening is the ribbon wants to wander. Nothing worse than a wandering ribbon, you guys. Nothing worse. Such a lie. Did Ray show up? There he is, folks. You know, he's still around. Yes, he is. Oh, this ribbon is... Okay, this is going wonky. This is going wonky. All of a sudden, it decided to have a life of its own, so we're going to have to regroup. Race, what are you doing today? you had a request. It was a request for a guest appearance. Yeah, your fans wanted a guest appearance from you, so thank you for doing that and satisfying the curiosity of your fans that you're still a busy man. I told them you were busy, but they wanted to make sure that I wasn't lying, so there you go. There you go. What's the weather like in CA today? All right. If I had used white thread or pink thread, I would never have come back and ripped this thread out right there. It's okay if it's a little wonky here and there, but you know, that wonky, you know, it kind of took off on its own. That was a little much. That was a little more than Barb could handle. It's a little, the wonk factor, the wonk factor was a little too much. And now my throat's going. I have talked nonstop. People always marvel at the fact that I can talk nonstop for hours on end, but 2 hours is about my limit. It's about the limit. Park weather. Okay, let me start here again. We'll see if we can do this again. Washing the dog. Oh, I've seen that dog washing project. She is quite the dog. She is a sweetheart. She has been, it's still going to go wonky. All right, so what? We're going to let it go the way it wants to go. It's going to wander as it wants to. Her name is Bella. She's my grand dog. And Miss Bella is the best. Of course, she's been bathed since she was a tiny puppy. She is the best at getting a bath. She is a good bath given dog. And she gets her manicure, and do you know, okay, now, the only dogs in California would have to do this, by the way. Only California dogs. She gets perfume when it's all over with. Perfume, okay? Perfume. Dog perfume. Yeah. I know, right? I'm just going to see if I can manage to stitch the other side of this ribbon. I'm stitching two squirrely fabrics together. And then I'm probably going to have to do something else to make it look even better in the end. Oh, I'll change my mind completely and rip this completely off. That's possible. That's possible. Yeah, a dog that gets perfume after a bath. I don't know about this. I'm a little skeptical about the perfume bit, but I've seen it with my own eyes. She is awfully good about getting her manicure, though. She's awfully good. She's way better than Muppet. Oh, Miss Muppet. She did not like a manicure. Okay. Well, I'll show this to you from afar so you can see, with the addition of this little stripy thing down the middle, how it just breaks up this great giant ribbon. Okay, so there you go. So it just kind of breaks up that big ribbon down the middle. So I think I like it. Anyway, that's that. Okay. Any questions or comments? Yes, the dog smell goes down the drain. She's a sweet girl. She really is. She's a sweet, sweet girl. Okay, everybody. I'm going to take off. Did Race leave? Oh, no. He's still hanging out there, maybe. So, yeah. We did some stripping today. that sound good? No, it sounds bad, doesn't it? YouTube's going to get upset with me since I'm talking about stripping. Strip piecing, okay? Strip piecing. It's all legal. All right. I'm going to go. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Thanks for listening to my stories about random children in parks who get in family pictures and acquiring children from other countries, and why not? Because there's room for all of us and all of our families. There's room. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, all of us here together, and I hope you guys oh, Dorothy says her friend took her dog to the beauty parlor. She came out all beautiful and then rolled in the mud. Of course, because that's what they do. They like to get their own, cover up the smell from those places. Because that's what you do. Thanks for being here, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I will not be here Monday. Monday's a holiday. Will not be here Monday. I plan to be here next Friday. If anything changes in that regard, I will let you know. Okay? So go out and do something cool, something nice for other people. You might want to incorporate a random person in your family photo. It was a lot of fun. I just pray that little boy actually has a family. Anyway, there's some things you can't do anything about, but I can always pray. Anyway, it's good to have you here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Have a wonderful weekend, a good holiday Monday. I will hopefully see you next Friday. And until then, remember to get creative today, because it's easy. Be sure you come and check out HowToGetCreative.com. I will see you when I see you. And bye for now. Bye, everybody.